From 4 disparate locations currently unknown, it's time once again for the long shot. Come hell or high water. Tonight's episode, Jamie ambushes the guest with very special guest, comedy producer and photographer, Mandee Johnson. And now please welcome the host of the Long Shot, Sean Conroy. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, good dusk, good desk, good Dansk. Gdansk is actually a place in Poland. Okay. My name is Sean Conroy. I am the host of this podcast. It's called The Long Shot. With me today on the show are the other hosts of the show from downtown Los Angeles, smoking and drinking machine. Joe Wagner is here.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm still around.
Yes.
Made it another week.
Still the one. From a barely cracked curtain in, I guess, East Los Angeles, Amber Kenny is here.
Hello. Yeah, it's hard to close them with the Christmas lights.
Right.
Is this
Yes.
Take one.
Yes.
Take one.
Is that something I missed from the past, or that's a brand new thing?
I've never seen that before.
Brand new bit, Jamie.
But now we can sync up.
Amber.
Now we can finally sync up the picture to the sound. Amber Kenny is here, and of course,
that was like Joe Theismann's leg. Remember?
Yes. That is something you missed, Jamie. Oh no, you were here for that.
What happened to Joe's leg?
Joe Theismann's leg broke. It snapped like a clapboard.
Oh,
Moving
fuck.
on.
How's the team gonna do?
Jamie Flam is here. Jamie Flam.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Glad.
All right. So we always start the show with a segment that we like to call Checking In. And since Jamie has not been here for the last several weeks, I'm quite certain that we should start with Amber.
I knew it.
Amber, what's going on?
I have huge news. I'm so excited to have huge news. I'm moving.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Where are you going?
January 1st.
January 1st.
Yeah.
Into a new year.
Yeah,
I see what you did.
Next door, the building next door. Why are you upset by that? It's a bigger apartment.
Because I was like, Phoenix, Chicago, Detroit. Yes. Where is she moving to?
Phoenix.
Detroit.
You were going to go live with Uncle Dave.
That would be Tucson.
Tucson.
How's Idaho doing with those numbers? That might be a possibility.
That's
true.
True.
Come on up. Plenty of room in the barn.
No, we have now a 1-bedroom, and we've been here for 5.5 years.
Oh my God.
As I said that, he tried to walk by and bumped his leg on furniture. Like it was like the perfect representation of
so
what
it's
I was
too
about
small.
to
You
say.
guys need to expand.
Well, we've been it wasn't too small when we weren't home very often, but we are home 24/7. We both work in the same room all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're off work, we are also in the same room, except for when we're sleeping. So,
you could sleep in shifts. That way you'd have the room,
That's true. And it's great. I think it's just, and we've actually been pretty good just in the last couple weeks. We've started to go crazy. It started to feel like the walls are closing in on us.
Yeah.
And so we were planning on trying to look in the new year, and Jeff went for a walk. The building literally next door to our building had like for rent, and last Friday they happened to be showing it. Because of COVID, it's difficult. You have to show one person at a time, and so they happened to have it
6 feet
open.
apart. You have to have good ventilation. Everybody has to wear a mask.
Right. So they happened to be showing it. We walked in. We loved it. It's super cute. It's Craftsman. It's 2-bedroom. We're allowed to have a dog. There's a a hookup for a washer dryer. So
oh, you got the hookup, huh?
Yeah. So it's a lot more room, and it's going to be like a big project because I mean, we'll have to get new furniture. It will be a lot of big expenses that we can't do all at once, but at least we can't have company for a long time. So
unless you have a dance party.
Yeah, are you an influencer? You don't throw those influencer parties. Those are the ones where you see like TikToks of like 300 21-year-olds, and they're all just.
It seems like those are perfectly safe.
Interesting.
I thought Longshot was an influencing podcast.
Yeah, I think we are influencers technically.
Influencing people not to listen to podcasts, right?
We are saying don't party. Don't party.
Please don't. Please
don't have fun. No fun.
Wear your mask.
But so it's making it kind of a nutty time because we've started like cleaning out our closets and stuff because you want to move
tonight. Tonight you're cleaning out your closet?
We did it earlier today.
Doesn't scan.
I don't know what's happening.
Joe?
Sean likes to apply the pressure of a parental unit. That sounded to me like a conversation with a parent where it's like, are you doing it tonight? Is it tonight that you'll get that done?
Referencing something.
It is a parental reference, though. It is. I'm sorry, Mama. Oh. Tonight I'm cleaning out my closet. It's a M&M.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, different, but yeah.
Different song. But okay, so we already have a small apartment, and when you clean out like closets and drawers, you kind of have to make it a bigger mess before it is clean. So like what you see is not the reality.
That's the only space in the apartment that's not covered with crap.
That's why it was so funny that he tripped over something walking by, because it's just like, yes, that is the life we are living right now.
Right.
And it's going to work out because we both work at a studio. So we have from Christmas Eve through New Year's off, and we'll just spend that time, packing and moving. And we're going next door. So we're not going to rent a truck. We might rent, a dolly for the heavy furniture, but it's exciting.
I might know a guy that's got a dolly for you.
Really?
Yeah.
A dolly guy?
Mm-hmm.
I also have a hookup at a place called Hello Dolly.
But yeah, it's just, it happened very, very fast, and it's exciting to have something to look forward to.
No, I mean, I think that will make a big difference. That will help,
And we could get a dog, and we won't do it immediately because we'll need to settle in, but that is something that we both want as well.
It's weird because moving is always described, and I think rightfully so, as one of the most difficult things in people's lives. Like, it's always so hard to, like you said, empty the drawers and figure out what to keep and what to throw away and where did all this crap come from. That's what I'm always amazed by when I move, is like, how do I have all this crap? Why do I have all this crap?
Well, and you become like an archaeologist of your own life, where you're like, oh, right, I did have a phase where I was into this.
I can't believe I did pipe cleaner art for so long.
Totally.
That's
30s, right?
30s.
That's what always happens to me, because as you start to bring out this stuff, you don't know which thing is going to trigger some memory that makes you sit down with it for like an hour before you go back to keep moving something else.
Well, that's why Marie Kondo says you got to do it in the right order. You got to put the right things with the right things and do it in the right order, because that is going to happen. You are going to get triggered by stuff that you look at and go into a deep memory hole.
Amber, I seem to recall from the podcast history, didn't you bring up that Marie Kondo book like early on?
Yeah, it changed my life.
Came out?
Yeah. That's kind of what we're doing now. It's just, we're not doing it exactly the way it's prescribed in the book, because you're supposed to basically do it in order and do everything all at once. And we're doing it a little bit by bit, just because It's combined stuff, so it's very difficult for us both to sit down and look at each individual item in our entire apartment.
I don't want to start a flame war, but I think Marie Kondo's full of shit.
I feel like Jeff feels the same way.
Yes. He's right.
Do you think Marie Kondo smiled when she felt Jeff hit his leg against the table? Wherever she is.
Is there a place in the Marie Kondo book that says where to put the Marie Kondo book?
Yeah, in with the books.
Is there a place where her name is Mary or
what is it?
Marie.
I don't know.
Murray?
I don't even think
Murray.
it's
Marie Kondo.
It's probably not even Marie.
Hi, welcome to Murray's Condo.
Hey, Mary.
The best condo in the whole building.
What I'm asking you is, does it give you joy?
Does it spark joy? Of course it does. Look over here. You see the Griffith Park Observatory. Over here, you see downtown. It's great. So you're gonna move over that week, or do you have to do it all in one day?
It's unclear. The building we live in now, it's very hard to get a hold of the owners. In fact, we've never ever spoken to them once. We deal with the on-site manager, who's the sweetest woman in the world. In fact, when we told her, she just was like,
she started crying.
Well, she calls me Kenny, and I think like on one piece of paperwork, she didn't see the comma. So for 5-6 years, she thinks my first name is Kenny. Like everything's addressed to Jeff and Kenny Wattenhofer. And she was like, "Oh, Kenny, you guys are such nice guys." She was so sad we were leaving. I was like,
the building will not be the same without you.
But
we're just moving. We're moving right next door.
Literally next door. We'll see you constantly.
Oh well, then never mind.
So, but I only said all that to. It's kind of hard to figure out like when the hard date that they need us out versus.
Right. So
it's unclear how much wiggle room we have, but we'll figure it out.
Well, that's a big deal.
Well, and again, luckily, it is 100 feet from your place right now.
It's shockingly close. It's hilarious.
And this was the first place you looked at.
I know you guys aren't.
Go ahead, Joe.
Wow, that's great. Oh no, I was going to say I know you guys aren't going to do this, Amber, because it is such a short move. But this would be the move where you try to get as many of your friends out to help you move, and then you say, "Just right." It's just right.
Right. Everyone just take one thing, and then that's the whole move.
Yeah.
If anything, it might just get annoying because it'll be so many trips. You know, like instead of like loading up a big truck, you're just like
like ants carrying something. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited. It's Sean, you were saying it was the first place we looked at. We had come to peace. We said that we were going to move in the new year to a bigger place. We had outgrown this place, but I was going for a walk and I was getting really emotional because I've always loved my neighborhood, but I think with lockdown, I've gotten even more attached because it's all I have. Like I have this apartment and then I walk like the several blocks around here. And I feel like I have a relationship with all the different dogs in the yards and like the different
positive and negative.
Correct. And then people have really decorated for Halloween and for Christmas because again, that's all people had. And I was feeling like I'm going to miss this neighborhood. And it was, I feel like 2 days later that we're like, oh, we're not going anywhere. So it worked out.
I just picture that you have one dog in the neighborhood that you have a bad relationship with. And so you're like walking through the neighborhood going, hey, howdy, boy. Hey, boy. Hey, girl. Hey. And then fuck you, Franco. Just one.
I don't know.
We ain't going nowhere.
I don't know any of their real names, but I have nicknames for all of them.
Uh-huh.
And there's one that I probably the worst relationship I have with a dog in the neighborhood is a puppy that we call Cute Puppy because
it's cute.
Well, it's not even that cute.
Amber, you just threw shade on a puppy.
Well, you'll see. We've had like a very tough relationship for years now.
Whoa.
Because I walked up to it and it was just sitting at the gate, and I go, "Hi, cute puppy," and it immediately goes, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." And so we like to joke, like its narrative is like, "I'm not that cute. Don't call me cute." And so we're like, "Oh, it's cute puppy." Like we say it antagonistically now.
You tease it. You tease the puppy. You tease it. Right.
The angrier you get, the cuter you are.
Exactly.
Well, that's great, because I do feel like, I mean, finding a new place is always difficult. So the fact that you were able to do it conveniently in such a short amount of time, it seems like
it's like
during a pandemic.
During a pandemic.
It also feels like the market is much different.
The rent prices have gone down overall.
Not really.
No?
But,
I was gonna start looking too.
But what I mean is, when we were trying to find this apartment, we searched for weeks and weeks and weeks. We would call phone numbers. People wouldn't even call us back. We would be lucky if we got a hold of someone, and then the price would be way out of our range, or it would be a situation where it's like, well, apply now because I've got 4 other people applying right this second. Like, it was so competitive that we just, when we found this one open, it was just like, okay, like it wasn't even a matter of if we like it or not. It was just like, we needed an apartment. And so I think both of us were, expecting that experience again. And for it to be so like, yeah, you want to look at it? You want to apply? Okay, it's yours. We were like, this is too easy.
Come on in. Take a look around. Here's the keys. I'll see you guys later.
Exactly.
If there's problems with the water, I'll have it turned on. Like, you're just moving in as you
Well, originally they said no pets, and we're like, but we want a dog. And they're like, okay. I was like, okay.
The current version of the apartment paranoia of like, was somebody murdered in here? Is like, is there just like a COVID party in here? And it's like, all right, here we go. No, go ahead. It's
no, whatever. Sure. Free, whatever.
You should have said, we want to pay half that amount of rent.
Amber, actually, I have seen, at least with some of the apartment, because I looked at some apartments over the last 8 months, and I know that some places are at least starting to throw out those kind of like 2-month free specials.
That's nice.
And you're right though, but that's what ends up happening, is that it becomes like a feeding frenzy, because I bet you more people are moving now than maybe it feels.
I feel like a lot of people left the city altogether. So there has to at least be more apartments available, right?
I left the city.
Right. But I don't think your condo probably isn't on the market.
No. I like to have 2 residences at all times.
On both coasts.
Yes. The middle coast and the side coast.
I actually helped my girlfriend move 2 weeks ago. And the day she was moving out of her complex in Atwater, I swear it was probably 10 apartments. 4 other people were moving out.
Oh my God.
We spoke to the people. They're like, yeah, I'm going back to Minnesota. And it felt like I've heard of people leaving, but actually see
fucking
it.
Pussies.
That's what I said. You are not in the city.
I know.
That's true. I am a fucking pussy. I'll admit it.
This is the bi-coastal elite that attacking you.
Can you see the bubble around me?
Are you in Idaho? You're in Idaho. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Jamie, to your point, I feel like when the dust finally does settle on the pandemic, the society is going to be very different in a lot of ways.
What about Zoom society?
Culture?
Oh, culture.
Who's calling you? What's happening?
My Offer Up app is the one thing that I've ever said, yes, I'll take.
Hello?
I was about to say, was
one of the stables downstairs just opened up.
Where's the horse going?
I thought for a second you guys had like
a
pre-production meeting, and we're like, we're gonna do like a game show bit.
Oh, right. Yeah, we just left you out of it.
Yeah. Somebody said the magic word.
All right. Anything else, Amber?
No, I think that's good for me.
When does your thing come out?
I don't know. I have to. I was thinking about this before because I knew.
Come on, Dave. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Amber and Jeff. I'm sorry, Kenny and Jeff Wattenhofer. Doesn't that sound like some Swedish comedy that's on Netflix that like your one friend has been like, you gotta see Kenny. You gotta see Jeff Kenny Wattenhofer.
And then you put it on and you're like, I guess.
Something's lost in the translation.
He just bumps into things. There's nothing to it. He walks around the apartment, he bumps into something, and she's like, I'm on Zoom.
Swedish comedy writing is like, we're going to have him bump his knee 17 times in the episode.
Don't worry, it's going to be hilarious. It's very slapstick. All right, checking in. Because Jamie has not been here for the last several episodes, I think it's time now to find out what's going on with Jamie.
That was a double psych out.
It was.
It came back around.
I don't know, guys. You guys remember what I checked in with last time? I think it's probably all the same.
Oh, come on.
James, obviously you have stuff to talk about because you had reason not to be here. Which
right, you could talk about those reasons.
Whirlwind. That's whirlwind, baby.
Yeah, it's been quite a couple of months.
It's only been 2 weeks.
It has been 2 weeks, but I feel like the last couple of months, it's kind of, I don't know, some days, and I feel like this is the exact same thing I said last time, but like some days I'm like zooming out and seeing everything and understanding all the things I need and want to do with my life and how to do things better. And then the other days are the opposite.
Zooming in
too much. Yes. By the way, speaking of Zoom, like I kind of put my finger on it. Like if ever there was a way to add more self-consciousness to my experience.
I know to watch yourself do it. Like, you can hide your window, I think.
I haven't figured out how. I
have the opposite reaction. I'm like, God, I look fucking good.
You do look good though.
You look great.
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
If you go to the 3 dots at the top of your screen.
My screen?
Yeah, sure.
I'm like Sean.
I see Sean. The 3 dots. It's a red, yellow, green.
And then there's like a hide self view at the very bottom of them.
I never thought of it. It's a stoplight situation. That red, yellow, green, it just flipped on its side.
Okay, you know let's not get into the stoplight.
Oh my God, checking in. Have you guys noticed?
I think Jamie may have zoomed in very hard. Right
That's
very hard. That was a full-on zoom.
It's like a stoplight situation, and if you go into one of those lights, it's just
you can
pixels.
Enter full screen.
I honestly don't know what you are talking about. I don't
have 3 dots in the top left of your Zoom window. On mine, there's a red to minimize it. Or to, I think, just X
Folks,
out.
Welcome back to learning Zoom for the first time, 9 months into using it every day.
I got to say that they're constantly upgrading it, so there are little things that are changing.
Jamie, come on. Give us some meat here. Put some meat on.
Okay, here's some meat.
How was moving your girlfriend? You could talk about that more.
Don't take anything the wrong way with that. You know, just the...
I literally
from
just
apartment
imagine
to apartment.
Jamie throwing her over his shoulder. Like, all right, this is finally happening.
I used my Dolly guy. Call back to that reference. Okay,
Dolly guy, right?
Yeah. The I guess one major revelation I've had is so. This has been crazy year. We had this company that was a theater, and then we had
I feel like as you started to talk about one major revelation you had, you started to have another revelation.
Another.
You're like, one major revelation I had was, so you know,
that's a peek into what's going on here.
Yeah.
The Zoom is happening as we speak.
Oh shit! I'm zooming.
It's like that weird thing from Second City TV where they were trying to do 3D, but it was fake. Go ahead.
Stoplight Jamie. Possibilities. The stoplight possibilities. Everything is possible. So long story short, last week
there was no story.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It hit me like a ton of bricks one afternoon. Like, there are these things that have been on my plate, like business owner things that until a couple months ago someone else was doing. And this year's been so crazy that it just hit me like no one else is going to do these things. And I guess that applies to many things in my life, but like, I don't know. I kind of deluded myself to think like, oh, at some point someone like, I mean, taxes kind of stuff and
like
dealing
the
with
grown-ups will come and
yes,
take care of things.
Like we've been applying for our liquor license forever, and there's like some final steps. And in my mind, it's just like someone else's or something's going to happen, or I don't know. But it was like, oh my God, this is on me. And my team is waiting on me, and they're probably tiptoeing around it. Like, I don't know who I'm not waiting for someone else to do it, but like, it just has been like I need to step up and be an adult about these things. I don't know. There's some things that like, I'm like, and I'm trying not to compare myself to everyone else like I always do, but like anyone else would have just done that already. Anyway,
I'm trying not to compare myself to other people. Anyone else would have.
Oh,
I don't know.
Right.
You're making a lot of assumptions about the industriousness of the entire human race.
You're right.
We're all
flawed.
We're all flawed. But yeah, I just, some of these things I'm just having to realize like I've been really hiding from it for so long. And so, yeah, it's been just a crazy go of it for several weeks. And
Jamie, I'll jump in real quick to say what the other two were saying as far as relative. I always think about the stories that you've heard, you know, they've been reported, they're verified, where the Defense Department has lost billions of dollars. Like, they lost it. You know, and that is because beyond nefarious intentions, other people don't get around to how their job is supposed to happen and the accounting of things and all that adult stuff you're talking about. And they have lost literally just poof, like billions of dollars. And that's like, you know,
when I compare myself to that, you're doing
fine. You're doing fine, dude.
Yeah.
Well, think about, I mean, not to intrude on real actual events of the last several months, not even several months, last month, but remember early on after the election happened and there were a couple of places where they found a bunch of votes because people had not uploaded memory sticks that they were supposed to upload. And of course that was transmogrified into fraud. This is fraud. Right. But it was just people fucking up their jobs. People
Human
fuck
error.
up. Yeah.
Right.
Transmogrified, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's a first.
I have a word of the decade calendar. That's why it took me this long.
So Jamie, are you, here's though what I'm hearing a little bit. Are you in a place where you're still kind of down on yourself for that? Or do you feel like you're in the part where you're picking yourself up to like, okay, I'm going to reset some of my goal planning towards those things that have to get done?
This past week, I actually got through a bunch of stuff. Like some of it was, there is so much fucking bullshit when you start a business of like, I had this thing in the mail. It was for, what was it called? Unsecured property tax, which what does that mean to you? What do you think unsecured property is?
I assume that it means property tax that doesn't feel good about itself.
That's what I thought too. Like, it doesn't feel as cool as the other taxes. Yeah. Right.
It's like if I was any other tax, I'd be done by now.
I was like, I guess it's for the property. I don't own the property that Dynasty's on, but I guess it's a thing. I got to pay it. And then I got a thing in the mail reminding me to pay it again. And so I called, and it was when I was calling that I remembered, oh, I did try to pay this a month ago. And then it told me to go online to pay. And then when I went online to pay, it said it won't accept payments online. You have to call. And then I'm calling for several hours one day, and it's like, I can't get through to anyone. I was like, I'm trying to give you money
Right.
that I don't even think I owe. Unsecured property, by the way, is not for a property. It's for property that I own in the theater, which I don't even understand why.
Oh, like chairs?
I don't know if it's chairs as much as like sound.
You talking about curtains?
I don't know if it's curtains either.
Jamie.
Yeah.
What is it? Floorboards?
Bolt everything. Everything is secure.
Well, folks, due to some unforeseen technical difficulties, we had a bit of a problem. The internet or the electricity, or I don't know what happened, but things got screwed up on Zoom momentarily. This is a thing we've all had to deal with at this point during this pandemic. So we dove right back in. Don't go away, because here we go again.
Right,
should we start from the top?
Yeah. So Amber, you're moving.
Zoom in. Zoom in.
We have really zoomed in on this one.
But we weren't recording for a very brief time, though, I think.
It was just tail end of government.
Well, we were talking about Jamie's problem with unsecured property tax.
Yeah.
So let's dive deep into that.
Zoom in.
You were saying, and I totally relate, is like, and then going back to the stroking thing, I meant checking a box. Like in my mind, somehow I equated checking a box with stroking, and stroking has so much more sexual energy to it.
I totally get it.
But
so
yeah, I
so
made
does
that
checking
call.
a box, though, to be fair. It's the right
I've spent
box.
more than 30 minutes on hold somewhere. I can't handle doing that again. But
you have to go into it with the mindset of like, this will take as long as it takes, and I cannot get frustrated and give up. And I have a very hard time doing that, because after like 2 hours, I'm like, fuck this. I'm doing it a different time. You know?
And then I'll put it on a pile, and then I'll get something else in the mail a month later that says, you still haven't done it. Now you owe more money.
When you guys have found yourself in that situation, have you chosen the option where they say we will call you back?
This was not an option, and I don't think I've ever used that option.
Well, because sometimes if the wait is more than like 2 hours, the recording will say, you can choose this option and we'll call you back, later in the day.
I don't know if the government, stupid government, has that as an option.
Some city utility. So it's like the DW. I was doing it with the DWP. So I mean, I think some state stuff, maybe some city stuff.
But I also find, I mean, I don't know if this happened, Jamie, because I don't know your story, but I feel like sometimes this kind of is what you were saying. It's like they go, you should call this number, and then you call that number, and they're like, you should call this number, and it's the number you got their number from. So you're like
constantly
in this weird back and forth, like, who the fuck am I supposed to be talking to right now? By the way, just so you guys know, Aaron just texted me to say, are you guys still going? The power went out in my house and I lost Wi-Fi. So
oh my God.
Hopefully he'll be able to join us at some point again, unless there's a huge riot and blackout and looting going on in that part of LA. So we'll see. But go on, Jamie.
But glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for that. I think it's just there's a bunch of those, and and realizing that I have to do what you just said, which is I have to just commit to getting this done. And there's this unfun part of what I have to do, and that's kind of the growing up part of it. Like, I got to do the unfun stuff.
It's also hard because part of what motivates you to do things like that is what are the consequences. So like you want a liquor license for your whatever that place is called, and you go
the detail.
What are the consequences if I don't do this work? We have never had a liquor license. There's a pandemic going on right now. So what's my motivation to tomorrow wake up and go, today's the day I'm going to get that liquor license?
That is a good point that I hadn't, as far as there's not like a roadmap where 3 months from now, even or 6 months probably, or 9 months, where it's like we get to sell beer.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that. What else is going on? We found a ghost in the theater.
Of
course you did, because ghosts are real.
I think I can share screen and show you this ghost. We have
please do.
footage of the ghost.
Let's use our medium.
By the way, if any listener didn't think Jamie Flam could flip from unsecured property tax to our theater is haunted, he just proved you wrong, baby.
You should have the ghost paper.
I'm very curious to know what you guys think. This has not been doctored. We were doing a live stream from the theater with Cameron Esposito, comedian, and
so you have a recording of an apparition.
Yes. And so I'm going to show it to you, and then you'll see it in slow motion.
If this is some Blair Witch shit, I am out, because that movie scared me.
I don't think this is some Blair Witch shit. Okay.
I want Sean to shit himself.
Wow.
All right. So here we go.
You know what? Where is it watching? He's one of ours. And
Do you see that coming in?
Be proud of
Ghost.
And he couldn't be proud.
Do you see the ghost?
I also want to mention.
Do you see that? Here's slow motion. What is that? That is not like a light. Okay, and look, watch it as it comes through.
Whoa. It's like Slimer.
Isn't that nuts?
Until I saw that, I did not believe in ghosts, and now I completely believe in ghosts, because that clearly was a ghost.
That's the part that
it's weird that it moves across.
I think Amber's nailing it with the Slimer thing, but Jamie, you guys don't serve hot dogs, right? Or do you?
No, we don't. Was that Slimer's thing?
Slimer loves hot dogs, bro.
Welcome back in.
Is everything okay, Aaron?
Yeah. The power just went out at my house for some reason, so the
That's
Wi-Fi
weird.
took a second to come back.
You know what, Aaron? Unplug those baby monitor things. You don't need those.
All right. So, Jamie, who knows what that was? It wasn't a ghost. There's no such thing as ghosts. That was like a weird. It was like a weird light anomaly. It was like some kind of weird. Did people see it? Did people see it live?
Yes.
And what happened?
There were comments, and you could hear Mary from our team saying "ghost." Nothing has been changed from that video. That was literally happened.
Mary from our team. What is
Kondo?
Mary Kondo?
Yeah, Mary Kondo.
Now, I do have to warn you that my condo has a ghost. It's got great views, but it's got a ghost here. But what are you going to do? It's Murray's condo.
I don't know. What do you guys say?
Yeah. Can we take an informal? I mean, Amber, thoughts, feelings. Was that a ghost? Was that an apparition?
Or an apparition?
Well, I'm just saying. Was that
a phantom?
A supernatural.
The phantom of the typewriter.
Entity. Was that? Oh my God! It all comes back.
It is the entity.
Was that an entity?
I can't rule it out, but I can neither confirm nor deny.
Sure. I mean, I was the next day. I was like, I feel like I haven't. This is a couple of weeks ago, but the next day I went over to see my nephews and my niece and my family, and I'm showing them and they were kind of like, Sean. I was like, how quickly these kids that are 12 and 10 and 6 are just like, it's probably a light thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a light thing that swoops and flies. That had grace and character to it.
See, that's you projecting on what you want it to be. That had no grace, nor did it have character.
I didn't project that grace.
Joe?
I'm just going to say I am halfway into what I'm drinking tonight, which is alcoholic. And Sean is absolutely right. As human beings, we project. But right now, I'm ready to honestly say I'm ready to project with Jamie in that way. I saw that thing move, and the movement made me feel that it was some spectral form.
Wow.
Let me ask you this.
I believe it.
Let me ask you this to anybody who believes that was a ghost, which I feel like right now is 50% of the podcast leaning towards more than that, or at least part of it leaving it open. If that was a ghost, what was the intention there?
I think it was my speculation is that was a baby bat ghost that just hadn't been trained in the ways of ghosts.
I would just like to officially retract my support of Jamie.
You can support that as a ghost without the specificity of the baby bat.
Yeah, I don't.
So you're presuming a world in which every creature.
No, just humans and bats.
Don't be ridiculous,
and kangaroos.
Sean.
A dog would not have a ghost, but a bat.
Why
who already
not?
plays with
I want dog ghosts.
No, I think there'd be dog ghosts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there are ghosts. I don't know if there are ghosts. Who
Jamie,
thinks? Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to interrupt the musical.
What the
musical part?
What the?
Jamie, have you encountered anyone besides me who has felt like that was the recording of a ghost?
Well, the Mary.
The Mary?
I think there's probably 4 or 5 people that have seen it and believe that it is a
Have you
ghost.
sent it to any ghost authorities, whether they be human or spiritual?
No. I think that is the next step that we should take.
So it's completely unverified by any expert.
I just think that we have the only. I mean, have you ever seen an actual ghost? Like every single ghost show that they do, like ghost hunters, like they don't even actually see anything. This was actually, you could see it. That's what the difference is to me.
Can we start with our listeners who are on the Facebook page of the show, where when we put this episode out, can everyone just say whether they think it's a ghost or not?
Oh, they will.
Yeah, I would like to know what our audience thinks.
So we'll put up a survey that says ghost, and then it'll say yes or no. And yes means yes, it was a ghost. No means no, it was not a ghost. Then in the comments, you can say
if it's a baby bat or not.
Right. Or whatever else.
I'm open to it not being a baby
underneath, bat. And also the box, do you like me? Check here, ghost.
Just about Joe, though, not about anybody else.
Do you like me? Okay. Do you like me, Joe? Okay.
All right. So you saw a light anomaly. What else, Jamie?
Checking in
Ghost.
for like 45 minutes.
Ghost. We lose all track of time.
Last night was watching an episode of Bob's Burgers, which is an animated program that's been on for a long time.
I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers myself.
And it's become in the last few weeks it can be on in the background. It's just kind of a
comfort.
I don't know. I'd never really seen it before.
Writers would be so proud to hear that.
A lot of times I'm focused as well, but it's a really fun show.
It's sort of a low hum of a TV show, huh? White noise.
I only want to applaud the show.
Either way.
You don't really have to pay attention.
There goes the Bob's Burgers night at the Deep Tip.
Oh, no, I genuinely love the show.
Good job, Sean.
Who needs it when you got a ghost?
There was an episode, and like Zach Galifianakis was doing a voice, and this was, I think, the night before last, and and but this character that he's playing has just got so much. It's what he does, and he's just yelling, and it's something that anyone that performs usually does.
Finished like a single sentence.
The character.
Also, I had a revelation. But yeah, go ahead.
It goes into everything else and all the epiphanies and the ups and downs and the zooming out and the zooming in. That's been just crazy the last couple months. But I'm like, this is a character on this animated show that like is just, there's yelling, there's performance, and I'm like going back to like I was born to sing and dance, and like I'm whispering in my life. I am whispering.
Oh, you're not
like
letting your light.
When I put myself, even when I perform,
your light in a bushel.
Yes. I just much of the time I'm but whispering how I feel, and just in every interaction. And
we're literally begging you to tell us how you feel about stuff.
I know, and it's been. I mean, this is going on a decade or two, maybe a lot of my life.
A lot of time when you weren't here for 2 weeks, we were like, I hope Jamie comes back, and I hope he doesn't keep whispering. I want him to sing and dance.
I'm ready to stop whispering.
I was about to say, Jamie, that you're secure enough that you do speak in a normal register of volume. Like, I mean, you could be whispering, and that would be, then we would obviously find you some kind of professional help at that point. But I mean, if you just whispered the stuff, I mean, but that's the thing. You want to get to like a roar. But, you were thinking that, Jamie, because you're dealing with all the business stuff, and you also have a performer side to you. So,
well, going back one step.
I just to be clear about what you're saying, because I'm not totally clear on what you're saying about what you experienced when you watched Bob's Burgers. Are you saying that you watched Bob's Burgers, you heard Zach, and you were like, I should have Zach Galifianakis's career?
No, well, actually, speaking of that, I watched the Beastie Boys story on Apple TV.
So did Sean.
You missed the whole discussion of that.
Well, when I was watching that, I was like, I should have been a Beastie Boy. But that's how I felt. It's like, that is, I mean, on so many levels of like music and just straight up comedians and all that stuff. I was like,
now this feels like a response you have to a lot of things. So my question is, did you have that response? Were you like sitting in your theater and going, I should have been a bat ghost?
It should have been a baby bat ghost.
I'm not opposed to it.
I could have been a bat ghost.
I could have been a bat ghost instead of a bump.
I could have been a bat ghost.
So there's something happening to me right now that I just want to call out, like where I'm actually feel like I'm opening up. Talking about the whisper thing, I should have started there instead of trying to. And I'm finding this a lot in a lot of conversations of late where I'm like, oh my God, I've been kind of keeping everything down, trying to keep the peace.
Technically, you started with unsecured property tax.
Right. That's not getting to the heart of anything right there. The heart of it is when I started the Dynasty, the books I've read on business and so many things, like when you start a company, it is creating your world. And there's no escaping the things that I've been up against for much of my adult life, which is speaking my truth, not being a people pleaser, wanting to make everyone happy at my own expense, all the things. And for the first 2.5 years of Dynasty and everything, like a lot went really well. But I, as a boss, as an owner, was still playing the people pleasing card in so many ways. As I'm bringing on employees, I've been doing the same things I've done my entire life, and then getting mad and spending, like when things aren't working out or where people I feel are taking advantage, all the things that have always happened. And now it's become a deeper frustration because there's nowhere to run. I can't blame the corporate comedy club I'm working for. Right, I can't blame anyone. And so what's been happening in the last 2 months, especially, is a deep look inward in a way I have never before. And then Mandee, you're just in time, Mandee.
Perfect timing.
Should I continue?
Jamie.
Yeah, you were like so close to having a breakthrough.
Yeah. Okay, Mandee, I'm having a breakthrough right now, but there's no. And Mandee, we can't hear you, but I know she knows me well enough that I think she'll get it.
No other guest pops onto a podcast and you hear, we're having a breakthrough right now. Just hold tight.
I can't wait to hear what this is.
Mandee, I was just saying, Dynasty Typewriter, owning a business, there hasn't been anywhere for me to run. So I have the same kind of habits in my life of being a people pleaser, of trying to make everyone happy, of all the things. There's nowhere to run from it. And it took 2.5 years, and it took a pandemic, and it took all the things, and to be like, oh my God, this is on me. I have to step up. There's nowhere to run away. Like, there's nowhere to hide. There's no one to blame.
It's hitting you, Jamie, that you are the boss.
Yes, that is it. And it's not something I've ever really been comfortable with, or it's like I'm avoiding, and it's this stepping into something that I've been avoiding for so long. And of course it means that some people aren't going to be happy. It means like, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
And so I've seen this coming. I felt it in phases for really, I mean, most of my life, but in the last couple months, as we head into the next year, with this crazy year, pandemic, the time to actually look inside myself in ways I haven't before, for all the things to come to a head, to be like, oh shit, this is it. And so that's what I've been straddling the last couple of months, especially, is like, that's the zooming out, like, oh my God, I can feel, almost tap me back into before Dynasty, when there's a part of me that for several years would talk to everyone like, I have a dream for a theater. I have a dream and you should come and it's gonna be great. I have no connection to that version of me for a long time. And so the vision's coming back, the excitement, but then with that, like all the things that I have to change in my life if I really want to get there. And so that's why some days are like, I'm feeling excited in moments and like just seeing all the stuff. And then on some days I'm like, oh my God, there's still so much work to do. And there you go.
It's hilarious to me that this is the most Jamie has ever had to say on any episode of the show. And it was only when we had a guest coming in that he finally decided to open up and not be. So you finally feel like that you should be the boss of the business that you started for yourself. And by the way, I know you're critical of yourself for being a people pleaser, but if it's any consolation, I never found you to be that. So
I know that I never please you. And yet I still strive so much. Sean Conroy.
Let's introduce our guest. Mandee Johnson is here. Mandee, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Mandee is a comedy producer extraordinaire, also an incredible photographer. And I guess the first thing I would like to, and don't worry, Jamie, we're coming back to you.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
We need to dig into that a lot more.
I can't wait to dig into that more, Jamie. Come on.
Yeah. But I want to just, because you put out a book this year that was a hugely ambitious project, and it's kind of an amazing book. So I guess the first thing I want to do is just ask you about that, and what can you tell us about it? What inspired it? Where did it come from? How did it begin? I'll just keep asking questions.
It took a really long time from the time that I thought about it to it happening. I didn't know how to get a book published, and so it took me a long time to find like an agent. And then once I found an agent, she was like, "Great, what do you want to do?" And so I was like, "Great question."
So wait, you got an agent without any kind of like thing in mind?
Yeah, a book agent. I was like, I have this book, and she was a referral from a close friend, and she was like, okay, well, like, think about what you want to do, like how you want to make it different, like how it'll impact your career, like where it will, it shouldn't just be like just a book. It should also like lead to something personally for you in your career, and what do you want to say with it, and then come back to me and we'll do it together. And I was like, great. And so she was really nice and very patient with me. And so I took a long time, and I love my portraits that are all through the book, but I didn't want it to just be page after page after page of portraits, because I think that would be very boring. And so I thought a better way to honor the community would be to interview comedians and then put those interviews in the book and kind of talk about independent comedy in LA and the community that surrounds it, and why independent comedy is, I think, very unique and feels very like a close-knit family. Sometimes they can fight, they cannot like each other, they can support each other.
Never happens on this show.
But it feels it's a unique way to go about an artistic career, where you go and do spots at at local shows to do 10 minutes, but you're by yourself on the stage, but you're with a community of people, and none of it really makes money locally, but everyone's really into it, and like it's very passionate. Everyone's just in it for the love of the game, and so I just kind of wanted to honor the community of Los Angeles with the book.
Very cool. So I guess if I can just break it down a little bit, can you just tell us about the portrait stuff first? Because it seems like that's kind of where it all started in a way.
Yeah. We started Super Serious Show 10 years ago, like over 10 years ago now, in July of 2010. And at every show, I took 2 4x5 portraits of every performer, one serious and then one kind of silly or whatever they wanted, or Joel would like to say super serious. But so that kind of led to the series that exists. It's, I think, over 1,500 images now at this point. So there's only really like a very small portion in the book. There's around 350 to 400 images in the book, I think. So to just give a size of the scope of the, of the project. And I didn't start out. Yeah.
Mandee. So
Joe Wagner, by the way, this is Joe Wagner.
Hi, everybody. I did want to get a number. Like, how many comedians would you say you have taken a portrait of? What is it up in there? Like 700s or something? Or
I don't actually know that number. I randomly, when I was compiling the book, all the JPEGs were like in one folder together, and I was aware that it was like around 1,400, and that I still have probably another like 50 or so at that point to finish. So I was like around like 1,500 or so photos, but some of those are, a lot of those are repeats, but some of them aren't. So sure.
So it's somewhere between 1 and 1,500 comments.
Yes. Well, 750 because they all get 2.
Oh, okay, right.
So probably not.
I was just going to say, Mandee, I just think it's so impressive and so cool that in your career as a photographer, you might be one of the current photographers that's taken the most comedian, portraits, currently working comedians, because you had that show, like you said, you had that show for 10 years, and for every lineup, you obviously took those pictures. So, I mean, I think that's so cool that you've taken so many photos of comedians.
Thanks, Joe. It's really fun to have some that are from the early, from like closer to 2010 and then like in between. And so you can see the comics age or, grow up or
take it
change
easy.
Or, I think Pete said in my interview that he was like, you can watch us all gain and lose weight depending on like where we're at in our careers.
You should do like a flip book. One of those flip books. Yeah.
That'll be my next one. My next one will be a flip book for kids. So that's where the photos came from. And then they really I started taking them really more so that we could have them on the website to show the comedians who'd done the show, to show other comedians that we weren't crazy, that we could be trusted, and like to provide SEO for the website. So if somebody was like Googling, Reggie Watts, like maybe our page would come up and they'd be like, oh, I live in LA. What's the show? And then after like 5 or 6 years, somebody was like, are you going to make a book? And I was like, oh, I guess I could make a book. And then that's kind of.
I like the phrase, are you going to make a book?
Are you going to make a book? That's
like you're not going to write it. You're just going to make the book.
I personally bound every copy. So I did make the book, Sean.
It was like a 5th grade project.
Yeah, remember how
some of them are better than others.
Yeah.
You'd use the hole puncher and then they'd give you yarn to tie around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this one is glued.
With wallpaper as the cover.
This is so for all listeners, this one was bound with glue.
But just to clarify, I mean, I do think the book is spectacular.
It's so beautiful. It's so
aesthetic,
beautiful.
It just looks so fucking cool. Really I feel like I need to get a new coffee table just to keep the book on,
When I got the first copy, and I think Joel was making fun of me because he was like, this is what comedy does to us. We don't expect nice things. But I was proofing the book. I knew how big it was going to be. I knew what it was going to look like. But when I got the first real copy, I was like, oh, it's like a real book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's what a lot of people would like message me. They're like, oh, this is like a book. And I was like, yes. We don't expect nice things. And when we get a real book, we're all like, oh.
Very true. That'll be the next book. We don't expect nice things. The alternative comedy scene from 2020 to 2030.
Yeah. Well, the pandemic took it away from us. So we don't get nice things now.
Every book should be dented. It's sent already like fucked up.
I feel like some people would be mad.
So I don't know if this is, I'm just curious about like technical stuff, like the camera and the film and what you go for in the photo and what, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like what's your, I hate to sound too highfalutin, but like what's your process,
I'm happy to talk about the technical stuff. I started this series on a Horseman LX because it's what I had when I went to school. So Horseman is like Canon. So it's just the brand of it. LX, I think, is the fancier version of it. It was just what was used at the camera store when I bought it. I still own that camera. And I ended up starting the series on the 4x5 because leading up to Super Serious Show, I went to photo school and then I was a photo producer for 8 years and I didn't really touch a camera. I was really burnt out and I had a lot of disillusionment of the photo industry from working as a photo producer, and like the kinds of photographers I was interacting with were always such assholes that I was like, oh, do I really want to be that? Ugh. So
Mandee, you would produce the shoot? You would produce the actual photo shoot? Okay.
Yeah, which is how we ended up at Smashbox for the beginning of Super Serious Show, was that I knew the people who worked at Smashbox from my photo producing days.
Which was a photo studio that you would set up chairs in and do shows in, right?
Yeah, it was very insane. We would walk into a blank studio and rig lighting and set up a stage.
It was
oh my God.
It was a big, Mandee, it's a big space. How many would you guys see in there? Because I remember it being a big space.
I think normally it would be 150 to 180, depending on what studio we were in, and how many people we could cram in. We would just take away chairs and make them stand if we wanted more.
How many studios did they have?
They have, at the time they had 5.
I was hoping they had 54 because that would have been cool.
One was really tiny and one was really, really big. And we never did it in the really big one or the really tiny one.
Mm-hmm.
But we would, they would just give us whatever was available. They would just set one of them aside for us every month and they would charge us nothing, which was crazy. And then eventually we moved because somebody was like, excuse me, we're literally losing money on you. Can you please leave? We're like, yes, I'm so sorry.
Don't you understand how comedy works?
I was like, but I pay you $500 a month. And they're like, we could be getting $4,500. I was like, fair enough.
Mandee, when that's happened, have you ever just said to the person, can I take your picture? I could take your picture.
No.
In this
I'm
light.
good at portraits.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They do not care.
Yeah.
They do not care. Until we got to the Virgil. I mean, Smashbox, I think, before they kicked us out, really did like having us there. And Dee and Rebecca, who helped us kind of get set up there, loved the show. And everyone who worked in the group room was always really nice. But everywhere else, I felt like I'm always like, I'm so sorry I'm doing comedy here. Thank you so much for giving me this space. I'm so sorry I brought people to your business.
That is doing comedy. That's the correct feeling.
Yes. So the Virgil, I don't feel like that. Louis loves us and he loves comedy. And
we don't expect nice things, but we do expect apologies.
Yeah. Or we're very willing to give them to you.
Yeah.
We're very willing to apologize for existing.
So when you take these pictures, I've done it, so I feel like I'm kind of pretending that I don't know how it happens. But what do you say to people? Is it do something funny or whatever?
Yeah, I normally it's set up with the same lighting setup in all the spaces I've ever shot. It's just one strobe, one small softbox, and then I kind of give or take try to aim for the same crop. It's never perfect, but it's close enough. So it's normally shoulders and up, or I don't know, whatever this is, normal portraits. And then I kind of just tell them look, I'm going to set focus because I have to go behind a big ground glass and they're not going to see me. And then I tell them that I'll tell you not to move. And then if you move and you're out of focus, it's your fault. And then I'll count to 3 before I shoot, because typically when I put in the Polaroid back to the camera, everyone goes oh, is that it? And I'm like, no. Because when you
idiot.
No, well, it's weird when you shoot on a 4x5. The film, you have to focus, and you have to put the film in. Then you have to remove the dark slide, and then you have to fire the camera. So there's a lot of steps that are weird, especially.
That's how they took pictures of Abe Lincoln too.
Yes. It's weirder the further in time we get. Away from 4x5
cell phones.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Mandee, do you have any tips on how to interact with the Rite Aid employees when you're getting developed? Just to kind of
at Rite Aid.
Oh,
go to Costco. They do a better job.
I didn't know that.
They literally use, I'm not joking, they use actual real old school Fuji printers, and they have some of the best prints that you can get for very, very, very cheap.
See, you think you're making a fucking joke, Jamie, but Mandee knows her shit.
I knew that it was going to get to the place we wanted to go, which is Costco.
And you can do an order online. That's why I kept my Costco. I think I'm going to renew it this year, but it's literally why I kept my Costco membership for years. If you guys got prints early in Super Serious Show, I still had time to do prints, and I was doing the photos quick enough to send out prints of them to the.
Yeah, we definitely got. We didn't get them from the Super Serious Show, but you came and shot some at live long shot shows early on, and we got prints of those.
From that. Those all came from Costco.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Amazing.
They're so beautiful. I don't know. I think I speak like probably for all of us, or like, I don't know. I just remember when I first started seeing those pictures coming up on, comedians would be posting them on social media. And I was like, I remember telling Vanessa, I was like, we have to find a way to get on this show. I think it was before we knew you.
It wasn't that hard.
No, it was tough. We had to go through some hoops. You have to have a certain talent level.
I don't know, Jamie. You were on the show before you moved it out of Smashbox, so you were on early.
Anyway.
Let's not get into a fight now, please, Jamie. God, Mandy's doing us a favor by being here.
No fight. I'm just trying to say
Jamie's known for being so confrontational all the time.
Boy, all of a sudden,
Jamie,
out of nowhere, he has this epiphany.
Compliment.
Yeah.
It was a compliment, Jamie.
Yeah.
Please title this episode Jamie Ambushes the Guest.
No, Mandee, I just want to say.
Jamie's like, she's been listening to this show forever. I can ambush her.
This is not an ambush.
She's a friend of the show. She's a friend of the show.
I just want to say,
Mandee, would you agree that Jamie should have had the same career as Zach Galifianakis by now?
I don't think that anybody can compare careers like that. You don't know where you were, times where you came up in a different time, you're literally different ages. That's just it's a fruitless endeavor of sadness to do that.
Can I ask you a quick question about that, Mandee? Mandee, you are not a comedian. You are someone who has documented comedians. You have been around comedians for decades now. Do you find that you're kind of a voice of reason sometimes to all the different kind of comedian personalities that are around you? Because they can be such. What I love about your portraits, and by the way, I think what Jamie was commenting on is that they're so, when they first started coming out, they were so arresting because they're so directly, obviously the face of the comedian. And I think with comedians and portraits, I think there's always that thing of how is the comedian going to present themselves? And we all know that everyone's just a bundle of fucked up nerves, whatever that dysfunction is that makes a comedian funny. But I always thought that the portraits of yours were always so interesting to see because I was always thinking, how is this particular comedian going to present themselves? What face are they going to make? And if
I just thought they were cool pictures.
I don't know if I'm a voice of reason. I think I'm a voice of reason at my own show, but I mean, comedians are very smart and intelligent people, and I feel like for the most part they can figure stuff out. I mean, maybe not.
No, I just said that because
at my show I feel like I keep a calm at my backstage, and I'm the mother hen at my show, maybe, but I think
you just gave a very sensible response to Jamie, and I thought,
I think it's maybe it's more about knowing when to play in and egg somebody on, which normally is Joel's role, and then my role is maybe to be like, I don't know, you're an adult. This is what you should be doing. But I do that, to be fair, with all of my friends.
Fucking Joel's an instigator, man.
I have turned to two of my very close friends and looked at them in the face and been like, you are grown ass men. What are you doing? What are you, you're not kids
well
anymore.
Said.
And so I've been that, and they're not comedians. So
and then Mandee, you go sit there and make a funny face. 3, 2, 1, and you take their picture.
But Sean, to finish your question.
Yes.
But it also kind of ties back to what Joe was saying.
About what you'd say to people.
Yeah, I always do the serious one first because get it out of the way. It's hard for comedians to be serious, and I want that one in focus, predominantly because it was the front of on the website for Super Serious Show. The serious ones are the ones that are on the website, and then if you click on them, you see the others. And then for the silly one, I just tell them to pick an emotion, any emotion, and really just go for it, whatever that is for them. The only ones that I've ever found to be like slightly boring are the ones where people just smile or they just kind of don't really.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, Sean, you're the worst. But don't really go for it. And then I count to 3 and I shoot. And because I count to 3, I think I've only had to reshoot like 4 in the whole series for blinking.
Oh, that's
Wow.
good. That's always a problem.
Yeah.
And does anybody ever like not understand what you mean when you say pick an emotion? They're like tall.
Sometimes they are a little confused. I think if it doesn't happen that much.
We lost Joe, by the way. I don't know what happened.
I think he was offended.
He was the one who said tall.
Like, how dare you? I was smiled in mine, man. No. I think that early on when people hadn't seen a lot of them, they were confused about them and they didn't maybe know that they were a thing, even though they're in the email that we send to the comedians. But because no offense, comedians don't read all their emails. But
Jamie.
But then as it went on, people kind of knew what the deal was. And so every now and then somebody won't know, but typically then they'll kind of wait and see me shoot a couple and then look at them and then have a better idea, I think. So
It is, I feel like for me, at least when I had it done, it is a little bit of an intimidating procedure just because it's so elaborate, you know, like there's this thing on a stand and you're behind it and you're standing somewhere. Like it's not just somebody with a camera going, okay, you know, it's like it is not to use the name of the show, but it feels very serious, you know, it feels like a real thing.
Yeah. I think it does make it fun for people because you don't really get a 4x5 portrait all that often. You know, I don't think you maybe in everyday life come across in a chance to get a 4x5 portrait taken. And 4x5s are really like naturally how they are just with the lens and like the bellows. They're just naturally really pretty. They make photos really nice and pretty, especially portraits, I think. And so there's a little bit of a cheat because of the way that lens and camera works. It's really nice for portraits. But I always think it's kind of fun. People are like, what is this? Like if they have never seen one before.
Yeah.
You know,
that was the trick. Well, I was like, oh, I'll do it with the 4x5 because maybe it'll amuse people.
Right.
I know that I've gotten my portrait taken, but it's been with liquid feet. So I felt like that added another layer of the technical difficulties because you had to figure out how to get all 3 of our very different sized heads into this frame. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I think the most I've done is maybe birthday boys.
Oh, how did you do it?
I was like, you just scoot back and then you're like, you all got to really like cram in this
just
field.
Heads touching.
Yeah. Typically when I shoot groups, I'm like, you got to really like each other. Like you just got to get in there. You can't be like, I can't touch this person.
Right.
Like, you're going to be touching them.
It's funny because we were talking before. I don't know if it's funny. We'll see. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe I'm using funny wrong. It's not, you know, it's just
interesting, notable.
Something to talk about. Which I guess is notable. You're right. But
remarkable.
No, I don't think so. We were saying we don't expect nice things, but I think that is one of the things about having your picture taken in that way is it does feel like, oh, somebody is taking me seriously and doing something nice that I did not expect. You know what I mean? It's like this is an elaborate thing that
I'm a real boy.
Yeah, exactly. A real live boy.
Oh, well, on that note, I think that's like the experience and your care. And it's more than just the photos, but like the first time going, just the small things of that you have the lineup printed on a small sheet for every performer. Like
most shows don't do that. Yeah.
And it looks good. Like it's like the attention to detail made it a fucking show. And I think that's not something you can always expect, especially from an independent comedy show ever. So those little things really made the experience, so memorable, and you felt like you could be taken seriously.
That's nice. I mean, I think that first of all, if you're an independent comedy producer out there and you want to know my hot tips on running a show, start on time, print out lineup sheets, send an email the day before with the lineup. It's not hard.
No.
But just like treat it like a job. It's a job. Like treat it like a job.
I just want to, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to interrupt to just ask, Joe, did you tune out for a moment just so you could come back in smoking a cigar? Was that the whole point there?
It looks like he's vaping, but
I'm not that selfish. I'm not that self-centered now. I just got kicked off my building's internet back. So, Mandee,
wait, I'm so sorry. Did you say your building's internet? Like you don't have your own?
No, I think
We're happy we got this far, Mandee.
That's horrifying.
Yes, I have my own. There's a server here, but I think that everything.
It gets crowded sometimes.
It gets crowded. So
yeah.
I'm going to take my cue from Amber and not ask additional questions.
No, it's just technical difficulties in the Zoom age. We're Zooming right now, by the way. Mandee, how did the book come to you, and what was the process of how?
No. Too late for all that. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll do parting shots, and we can tell people. Is that okay? Can you stick around for a few minutes,
sure.
Mandee?
Why not?
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do parting shots. We can tell people where you can get your book, and you can plug anything else you want to plug. Joe can tell us what he's been drinking this whole time. Jamie can tell us more about unsecured property tax, and we'll find out what junk Amber has lying around. So we'll be back in a moment with more stuff. Hey everybody, this is Sean. I wanted to tell you a couple things. The first is Mandee's book is titled Super Serious, and I'm sure there's a subtitle, but I don't have it in front of me, so what can I tell you? Look for Super Serious by Mandee Johnson. You can get it wherever books are sold, and you can also get it at her website, mandeejohnson.com. And then here's the other thing. We have restarted The Long Shot, obviously, after a year-long hiatus. Now, if you've been a fan of The Long Shot for a long time, you know that in our second year, all the way back in 2011 or 2012, our sound engineer at the time, Jorge, said that we should try to get ourselves 1,000 reviews on iTunes by the end of that year. And by the end of that year, or really by the end of 2018, by that time we had accumulated over 500 reviews. So not good, but still that was a lot. And we lost all of them when we restarted the show. So I'm hoping that you can take a couple of minutes right now and just stop by iTunes, give us a review, hopefully a positive one. But any press is good press, so feel free to say what you really feel, and we will be very grateful. And now, back to our show. We're back. You're listening to The Long Shot. Our guest is photographer and comedy producer and all-around human
and bookmaker.
Bookmaker. I mean, don't get the wrong idea. She's not going to give you odds on the Super Bowl, but she is a bookmaker.
I wish.
Mandee is here, and it's time for a segment of the show that we like to call Parting Shots. So why don't we start today with Joe?
All right. So I have been drinking India Pale Ale. It's a marshmallow India Pale Ale, and it's called weird. Soft and Fluffy.
Cute.
And it does have a very cute little rainbow maned horse, I think.
Was it any good?
What's the bird?
Isn't that a unicorn?
I don't know if it has a horn. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. I'm sorry. Yes, it's a unicorn.
I like how that's the question he answered, Amber.
I know.
Oh, how does it taste?
How does the unicorn taste?
And what's the brewery?
The brewery is
Sanrio.
Temblor. TEMBLOR. Just, I guess, shouting them out. I got it at the store right next to my building, which is called Weird Beers.
And, lives up to its name.
And is it good? Do you like it? Amber wanted to know if you liked it.
It's fine. It's fine.
Is it making you feel better?
Like you're really promoting something that you think is just okay.
No, no. I mean, look. If anyone knows me, I'm not a big.
They're going to send you a free case of Budweiser.
I'm not a big drinker, but I literally saw this beautiful, soft and fluffy unicorn floating through the sky, and that's why I grabbed it. This right here, this is why I'm drinking it.
Even though you didn't know it was a unicorn.
But an IPA is such an intense beer to drink if you're not a big drinker.
Oh, I'm fucked up right now, man.
No, I know that.
Taste-wise.
Taste-wise, and I drink beer and wine and liquor, but I don't really drink IPAs because they're very intensely flavored.
Right, but I love. See, even if I don't indulge in the flavors, I'm open to all the flavors.
What does that mean?
Sex positive.
I like to connect two things from this episode. Can you show the fluffy unicorn again one more time on camera?
Sure. Sean, I don't know if I saw that it was a unicorn the moment I glanced at it, but it is clear. Yes, the horn is there.
Yeah. Okay.
Jamie,
Yeah.
could that be your ghost? It has like
Oh
a similar
God.
shape to me.
Oh
It doesn't seem like it would have the gliding, but yeah, why not?
Jamie, look.
Jamie's ghost was the fluffy marshmallow unicorn?
It was apparently a stench of IPA from over here when it was passing through.
I'm just really sad now that I don't know immediately more about Jamie's ghost.
Yeah. No, you're
Oh,
not.
Mandee, don't do it. Don't take any photos at the Dynasty typewriter. It's haunted.
Mhm.
Oh, speaking of haunted, I've been haunted. When I look back at sometimes my past, I will feel a feeling of deep regret and haunting. But I do remember, I think on an early episode of The Long Shot, reciting a poem about a ghost. Does this ring a bell with anyone?
Yes.
It was a Halloween
I don't know.
episode.
I don't know for sure, but I don't put it past you.
But I do remember.
I believe it was no ordinary ghost. Yeah, it was a ghosty ghost.
It was a ghosty ghost, but I do remember Eddie's. I'm sure the three of you were like, or Sean and Amber must have been like, but Eddie was like, was that written by a child? Or I don't remember, but I understand that reaction more now than I did then.
Wait, was it written as a child, Jamie? When did you write that?
No, it was written as a 30-something-year-old man.
Oh.
And I stand
Why
by
do you
it.
understand it? What made you understand it now?
I guess I understand the anger that accompanied the question. I understood the question then.
I'm so sorry. Are you saying you just now finally understand Eddie's anger?
No, I think I've always understood his anger.
But now that you're living out loud, you understand why he was upset at that particular poem.
Yes.
Because you were hiding your light under a bushel then. And now, if you wrote a poem about a ghost, you wouldn't just call it a ghosty ghost. It would be like a toasty ghost or mostly ghost.
And I would be screaming. I'd be proclaiming it with passion, not like.
It would be a baby bat ghost.
Yes.
And Zach Galifianakis would be at home going, I got to work harder. That kid's catching up.
And the Beastie Boys.
Famously competitive dude.
Yeah, Zach.
Yes.
Joe, anything else, or you just want to plug your IPA?
No, I will say, so a couple episodes ago, I mentioned that on a daily phone call to my family, my mother and my aunt and I always end the phone conversation by telling each other jokes in Spanish. And so she told me one last night that I thought was great for the show. And so first I have to set up with a little bit of a Spanish lesson. So the Spanish, the verb for to be born is nacer, right? And then if you were to say nació, would be when you were born, the past, nació. And so if you keep in mind the conjugation of the verb nacer, then you will get the joke. So last night, my aunt told me, this has never happened before. She told me the first Hitler joke that she's ever told me. Yeah.
Wow.
And I made sure to text her today. I've never texted my aunt this, but I just texted her, text me that Hitler baby joke. And the joke goes like this. Okay. ¿Qué dijo Hitler cuando nació? What did Hitler say when he was born? Nací. I am born.
But also Nazi.
Nací.
Wow.
Nací.
That is fun.
Nací.
Now, did she write that herself? Or, I mean, that feels like a homegrown joke, yeah? No. I know she texted it to you. I understand how texting works. My question
Are you
is,
sure?
was that from a
joke book?
libro? Yeah.
Yeah,
But we find our jokes online. We go online and we do joke searches for Spanish jokes. So she found that online.
So she
found that
joke
online. Okay.
searched. Sorry. So she joke searched Hitler baby joke.
Yes, I think she goes to her QAnon site and then she.
Oh, she's cute.
No.
Well, can I tell a Hitler joke as well? Here's my Hitler joke. How many Hitlers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
9. Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. So I'll go next because I have a Hitler-related parting shot.
Oh my God.
I have been staying in this barn up in Idaho, Mandee. I've been up here for a while, and
it looks a lot nicer than I thought it would, by the way, Sean.
It's very nice. It's beautiful. But last night I finally convinced them to let me cook dinner for everybody. So I cooked an amazing feast, and I will say I'm pretty good at this stuff. Like, I cooked a bunch of stuff without even looking at recipes the whole time. Like, that's what I've been up to. Well, I cooked a bunch of ribeye steaks on the stove and then in the oven. And I cooked a Parmesan, garlic, broccoli, and cauliflower dish.
I'm getting hungry.
And I cooked Brussels sprouts, pan fried Brussels sprouts with vinaigrette and almond slivers, and I made a big salad, and I cooked a loaf of bread.
You make the bread from scratch?
I didn't make the bread. No. Okay. But I will say that I have been
People are making bread.
No, I know. I've been eating homemade bread this entire time. My friend makes a bunch of loaves of bread every 4 or 5 days, so I've been feasting the entire. I mean, I don't eat bread most of the time when I'm in LA, but you can't turn down homemade fresh bread. But this was a thing.
Different beast.
You and Oprah.
This was a thing that she started long before the pandemic.
This I.P.A. is treating you strangely.
But here's the reason.
For the record, that sounds like a great dinner, Sean.
I think everybody was it was really good, but I think everybody was also kind of like, yeah, cook dinner, asshole. And then they were like, whoa.
Why were they like that?
You can't expect a lot from a comedian.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't.
Like it was going to be ramen soup.
Yeah. Like I was going to make like macaroni and cheese and hamburgers or something.
And not everyone's Dave Stone, like some of them don't know how to cook.
Right.
Like would you trust Jamie with a dinner or Joe? I don't know.
Oh my God, Mandee.
Really coming hard.
I don't know. I know Sean cooks, so it's not surprising for me that
I can step up.
And I would have put out the nicest cereal buffet you've ever seen.
Right. You know what? You make breakfast, Joe. Sean will make dinner.
But the reason I say it connects is because after dinner, we played a board game that I had spotted on their shelf, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, are you kidding me with this? But they were like, it's really fun. The game is called Secret Hitler. And
what?
Yes. And it actually is a really fun game, despite the unfortunate name. Now, I did tell them at the end of the night, it's all about, half the people are liberals and half the people are fascists. And one person is Hitler. And you have to try to figure out who the Hitler is and kill the Hitler before the Hitler wins the whole thing. And
is this a modern game? Or is
it just came out in the last couple of years. Okay, it was like a Kickstarter thing.
It's like one of the spy games.
I guess. I don't even know.
Right? I think I've played it.
because
I
this
played
is
versions of that where like someone's
like the werewolves and the
alien or someone's a
villagers and the
spy
right.
Yeah.
So
it's
they,
kinda-
but I
right?
feel like those like Werewolf is a game you play without pieces or boards or anything like that, right? So
You
this
just have
is
to
like the
yell at-
next level of that, of like there actually are cards and all sorts of things.
Oh.
But the thing about board games I realized is that I don't play board games for the most part. And I think the reason is because you have to, well, two reasons. One is you have to sit and wait patiently while somebody explains the game to you and pretend that you understand what they're saying before you play.
Can I say, whenever you start, because I've been the person who tried to explain a game to people, and I've been the person trying to understand the explanation, and there's no way around it. The first paragraph is going to be complete nonsense. Because it's like, what you must know is on the third turn, the chancellor must have the piece in place. And it's like, what do any of those words mean? And it's like, it will make sense, it will make sense, it will make sense. And everyone just...
Yes, you're exactly right. And by the way, there was a chancellor in this game, which I thought I thought that was funny in reference to this podcast. But so I really had to force myself to not go, what the fuck are you talking about? And there was no like, don't worry, it'll all make sense. There was a sincere effort to make it make sense that
which is almost
completely
worse.
failed. Yeah. Like it was like, I don't know what you're saying, but let's just play and I will figure it out.
Like explain, like if a comedian told a joke and immediately explained every joke that they told.
But no. Right? If they didn't tell the joke, but they just explained all the jokes.
Explained the parts of They never told the joke.
When I was talking about the guy in the rowboat, what I really meant was you weren't talking about that. You skipped that part.
I think you've developed a job for yourself. You should write monologues that go with games, board games, that explain things in a fun way that don't infuriate people.
I know you're joking, but I actually think that's a good idea.
I'm only half joking because the person that should write that should be a comedian.
Because part of it is also the same skill that you have when you're pitching a story idea.
Yes.
Because you have to make sure that you're communicating clearly something that you already understand.
Right.
That you don't even know what questions the other person has.
You can't tell them info too early if you haven't shared the thing that they need to know for the thing.
Right. And
it's like
whatever those things are. Go ahead.
It's like being a good dungeon master. If any of the D&D play, it's role-playing game. So it's like, you have to be able to do it in an entertaining way.
But also a very clear way, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Is like
there's like a technical and
creative.
I think you already would be great for this stuff. Like they just get it in the box and they just go, okay, so on the third day of the moon of December, and you're just like, great, we're in a place.
But tell me this would not work as an app. Like if you could just call up a thing and have somebody going, here's all the stuff. Because the problem is you already know how to play the game. So it's not clear to you why somebody wouldn't understand what you're saying. And I feel like that's where I get bogged down sometimes is, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And so last night I forced myself to not do that. And we just played. And I didn't know for at least 2 rounds what was going on. Like I was still completely lost and making wrong moves. But the other part of it is I feel like games have gotten so much better, board games. Because like when I was a kid, it was like Monopoly and Clue, and they both stuck. And so now it's like
Candyland.
Those are awful. Those are awful games. And they're very conscious in this game that it takes between 30 and 45 minutes. Monopoly used to take weeks when I was a kid, and you would never finish the game because somebody would steal the bank in between times you sat down to do it, whatever the case. So we played Secret Hitler. It was great. I highly recommend it. And unfortunately, what I told them at the end of the night was, I believe Hitler won every round. So here I am in Idaho, and Hitler won every round. And so you guys are living up to the stereotype, unfortunately.
So no one, Sean, no one ever guessed correctly who the secret Hitler was?
I don't think so. And I think Hitler was able to get all the way to the end of the board before anybody guessed who was Hitler.
Wow.
If you were guessed correctly as the Hitler, did that person then have to like flip out and like throw the board and like shake their fist?
They had to shoot themselves in the head, and so it's good that nobody.
Thing for somebody to have to be Hitler in this game.
Yeah.
Like it could have just been any horrible person, but they were like, no, let's make it Hitler.
But the fun of it was sort of like that moment in Princess Bride where he's trying to figure out who put the poison in the cup. Because it is very much like, okay, so you played that card, which could mean that you're this type of person.
But you might have been making me think that you
and it's
thought,
like, but she played this, but she gave you 2 of those. So maybe, so it's all this like.
I love it. It's my
favorite. People lying about because people like one of the players.
Better than a lot of these role-playing games, Sean, you just debate forever, which is why comedians love playing them. They just like sit around and argue for ages. But I find that tedious.
No, this is more about logicking your way through who did what when. And so like one of the players would get her first card and go, because you're always either a liberal or a fascist, and she would just go, well, I'm a liberal again. But you don't know if she's lying or telling the truth. So you have to either go, oh, she is. And it turned out she was telling the truth every time, which I thought was a lame way to play the
game. When I play I have rarely played those games, but when it happens, I start to just freak out because I know that people are lying to me.
Yeah.
Like that's the part of the game that like messes with my head. And I was just going to say real quick, I have only played the werewolf one like twice, but the first time I was barely in it, but the second time I was, like you're saying, Mandee, comedians love these games. I was at some comedian house party. There was very, very strong pot there. I had gotten incredibly high, and I'm in the middle of this werewolf game, and I'm going to have to name drop for the story, but it gets to me, and like you're saying, Mandee, it just becomes a debate. And if everyone knows how the game's working, great, you're in the debate, you're having fun, you're cracking everybody up. Like Sean, I'm trying to follow along. I have no idea what's going on. It gets to me, and I'm so high that I just sit there and I don't say anything. And it's now getting so long and so awkward, and everyone in this living room is looking at me. And I hear this guy standing next to me go, is this stone guy gonna fucking say something? and I look and
up, then you realize it was yourself talking.
It's like every high schooler's first high time.
On top of me, on top of self-loathing, to see the chiseled jaw of John Hamm looking down at me, going.
I mean, you shouldn't feel bad about that. Guy? I feel like he's been the stone guy.
Well, the funny thing was, Mandee, is to look at that face and to go like, am I being bullied like I never was in high school? Because it felt
like stereotypically.
It felt like basically the football captain was like, hey, is fat stone guy here ever going to fucking say anything? Because we're trying to play this game.
So just to take a break, I looked to my left to encompass the beautiful visage of Angelina Jolie. It was a very difficult time in my life.
It destroyed me for weeks.
I want to hear more about this party that John Hamm's playing the vampire game.
Oh, all right, Jamie.
No. Let's not get into that right now.
Joe, just to sympathize with your plight, the last time I played one of those games was at a Christmas party pre-COVID. So I had been very sick. And if I talked a lot, I just coughed. Like this cough would terrify anybody this year. On a level that people would be like, they would exercise me from a community. They'd be like, leave this town. So I just couldn't talk during the game, and everyone's debating. And I wasn't like the bad guy, but everyone just assumed I was because I wasn't talking. And I was like, so I was just sitting there. And I was like, if I talk, I cough. So I will just sit here.
John Hamm was like, is this silent photographer ever going to say
silent
anything?
Girl going to ever talk?
Parting shots, Amber.
Yeah, first thing, I love those games where you lie and debate. It was really fun. Yeah. Love them. And I think I like them for a couple reasons. Like, I think Jeff is actually freaked out about how much I like them because I'm like, can we like lie to our friends? You know, like,
how you get it out of your system, Amber? Then
right. I think it's like it's me accessing my shadow side, and also because I have the this quality. I love being the bad guy because no one ever thinks I'm the bad.
Quality?
Just the vibe. People think that I'm nice and happy all the time, and I use it for evil, and it is so fun. And
you dream of being Hitler.
And yeah, it's I like those games. I miss it. This made me very like nostalgic for playing those games. But okay. I felt like I had a laundry list of things I was going to go through as my parting shots, and I'm blanking. One fun thing is in cleaning up for pre-move today, I have a bunch of nail polish, and so I wanted to go through like what's old, what don't I like, and to do that, like basically my toes look like a rainbow, like it's so many colors, and not just each nail is a different color. Like each nail is a stripe of 5 or 6 colors. So that's fun. I actually kind of like the way it looks.
Keep it.
I swear I had another big, I need to like write down parting shots. Oh, this.
Well, yeah.
My friend Abby gave this to me for my birthday to inspire me to like be producing more things. And I realized it's perfect for this situation. So that's bringing that back up. I guess that's enough parting shots for me.
Are your nails painted right now?
Yeah, they're yellow.
Very pretty. I've been admiring them.
Thanks.
I didn't notice
the flowers behind you.
And they match your wall, Mandee.
Yeah, I know. I'm really admiring your wall. I'm inspired. And I'm moving in January. You didn't hear that at the beginning, but I'm like, ooh, I want like a bright yellow wall like that.
It's our whole kitchen and dining room and like living room conjoined apartment. It's not very big. Area is bright yellow, and me and Joel always joke that it's a lot harder to be depressed in this room because it's just naturally like sunny.
Yeah, that sounds like a ringing endorsement.
Yet you find a way.
I mean, you know,
where there's a will.
Dig deep, Sean, but you know, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
All right, parting shots, Mandee. First, before you get into parting shots, tell us where people can get your book. Where is that available?
You can get it wherever books are sold. Quite literally.
Are they still being sold?
They are still being sold. It's quite amazing. You can go to my website, mandeejohnson.com, and you can get it. That will take you to a place. You can get it from Bookshop if you want to support independent bookstores, but you can also get it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, or lots of places have it. So you can just Google it. Super serious. It's about 300 pages, and it has interviews from like 70 comedians and photos of like over 350 photos in it. If you like comedy, or if you know anybody who likes comedy, it's a great gift. That's what I'm really pushing right now. Great gift.
Yeah. It's
if
gift
you listen
time.
to this at Easter, it's a great Easter gift too. So, you know,
birthdays,
anything, any gift, anybody who loves comedy. It's a fun book. It's personal in a way that I think the comedians who are interviewed don't hold up a lot of walls with the questions. And I think that it's a little bit more intimate than maybe one would expect. So
I think you're probably right, because it is a thing where you had a personal and trusting relationship with them, as opposed to like, hey, I'm here from
outsider.
Yeah.
All right. So buy that book. And anything else for your parting shot?
I don't know. Amber, I realized that all of my acrylic paints today were old because they were all rock hard. It feels very connected to your nail polish. And I also want you to know that on like one of the Quiplash packs, whoever makes those, they have this version of that game where you're like on a ship and you're a bunch of aliens and you have to like do missions to try to find out who the bad alien is. So you could play that remotely with people if you're missing it. I just want you to know.
I love it. Hot tip.
Yeah. And other than that, I don't know. Just, wear a mask. If you're going to go see family, write down a plan and email it to each other and follow it. That's the safe way to do it, according to everyone who's smart about science, and get tested and stay safe.
If you think COVID is real.
I mean, Sean, stop it.
Yeah.
Could we have Mandee on every show?
Sure. I have lots of time. We're all in.
somebody to rein me in. Jamie, parting shots.
Parting shots. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go and ask you, Mandee, a question.
No. This feels
shot.
like
I have one more thing I wanted to tell Sean that I just remembered that I was excited about, but
you can say that.
Can I interrupt you quickly? Sean, I wanted to let you know that I was drinking Green Spot, which is an Irish whiskey that I think you would like.
Good to know. I will be back in LA very soon.
Okay. Well, just hot tip. I think you'd like it.
Was it peaty?
No, it's a pot stilled. It's just really nice. Very
Yeah, I
drinkable.
like a pot distilled.
Yeah.
I think that
every once in a while I'm at a pot still and I look up and I'm like, hey, John Hamm.
Why is he looking at me weird?
And he's like, is that pot still guy going to say anything?
And Sean, I'm drinking a soft and fluffy that you probably wouldn't like. So I'm just.
I would like it if my acrylics were soft and fluffy. I would be able to still use them. Jamie, go ahead. Parting shots.
So we all remember a time when you could walk into a place and order a drink. But that wasn't like any other drink. This drink would have glutinous little bubbles.
For a second, I was like, this sounds good. And then off the rails. Go ahead.
Don't judge it.
Boba.
He's describing beer.
Boba.
No, it was boba.
Oh.
Now, I like to think that if you got like a typical boba drink, that there's, let's say, 40 bobas in it, that one of these bobas
is the worst approach.
No, I like it because you're starting even farther away, and I like that. You need like the ramp.
The wind up to the wind up.
I can't wait to see where this is going. I'm excited.
So there's 40 bobas at the bottom of this drink. You're sucking them up, and they're good. But somewhere, one amongst them might have within its gelatinous core, some sort of I don't know, wisdom, intelligence, something that sparks something inside you that gives you so much passion and just a newfound intelligence, perhaps, some sort of inspiration. And you suck that boba in, and it poof. You can't help but just express to the world this inspiration. Let's say you have walked into this boba place and that you have sucked down this boba and that you're in that moment. What might this boba have imparted to you that you must
First
now...
of all, I would never go to a boba place.
Thank you, Sean. I agree with that statement. Jamie, this is the weirdest way I've heard you set up this question. That's
why I was excited about it, because I saw it coming.
I also like that Aaron clearly put what he was asking in the chat in case I was confused, but I was like, oh, I do remember that this is Jamie's thing. My nugget of wisdom to pass on, Jamie, is it's going to be very simple, but I think it's to be nice to people. I think that in life, if you're professional and nice, and not like in a way because you have to be, but just be nice, and it'll get you further than you think it will. I think that too often people want to be more self-serving and more selfish, but if you're just a nice person who understands where other people are coming from, I think you'll be surprised about how that can get you through life and what that will bring you.
That's beautiful and true.
Love it.
Go ahead, Joe.
I thought Mandee was just going to yell at Jamie, "You're a grown ass man."
I mean, Jamie is a grown ass man who owns a business, and apparently just realized he did, which I was not here to listen to, but I kind of wish I was.
Well, that was great. Thank you, Mandee. Thank you for being here. MandeeJohnson.com.
For having me, guys. Long-time listener, first-time guest. Really fun. Very excited.
So much fun.
I feel like you have to do some kind of noise when somebody says,
like, what's happening to Sean?
Hey, can we?
I'm making sound effects.
Can we real quick? Can we? I know it's the Long Shot podcast. This could be a long shot with LoShoPo listeners. Can we plug Mandee's? We support indie business here at the Long Shot. Mandee is a wedding photographer. She's an amazingly talented wedding photographer. So if you ever need photos for any weddings coming up, it's just your Twitter, your same thing.
My wedding is mjpweddings.com. And then my actual website is mandeejohnson.com. And then all my handles on any platform is just Mandee with 2 E's photo.
We didn't really talk about supporting independent businesses, so I think we might have to cut this part out. But
it's fine. I don't want you guys to take a stand where you're not comfortable.
No, I follow your wedding photography on Instagram, and I enjoy the photos.
Thanks.
Secret Hitler good. Indie business.
Nine.
As Hitler would have wanted it.
Right.
By the way, do you think it gets annoying if you're playing Secret Hitler and somebody talks like Hitler the entire time?
Yes, immediately.
Yes.
Was that you, Sean?
You're wrong. You are wrong. It is me. Yes.
I don't know. I feel like you might be the only person who could pull it off.
No, it was annoying.
I don't think so.
See, there's a little humor in this voice.
Is that how he talks?
I feel like he could pull it off. No, he's not that humorous in his voice.
I just want to ask before we go, because we do have to go, but Jamie, what is the connection between boba and wisdom? I'm puzzled by that.
It started as nugget. And I know that I'm not Jamie, but I'm answering on behalf of him. And I think it just transmorphed into boba.
I feel like at some point it was a pressure that you put on, Sean, that I think took it out of nugget and into boba. I don't remember. I'm sure there's literally an audio record of the moment it became a boba.
Do a documentary.
So there really is no connection except. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, Aaron mentioned tidbit. I think was a transitional phase. It went from nugget to tidbit.
That seems like a demotion.
And then I think
boba is a demotion.
And then Jamie, you took it from tidbit. Colonel was one. And then
thank you, Aaron.
Jamie, I think boba was the last one you settled on because you had gone to tidbit, you had gone to Colonel, and then you were looking for something small.
I think that was the grossest, smallest thing.
No, there was a couple of years there where there was a boba place where I really just started to love it and had it probably once a week.
Right.
I since have given up boba. It might come back. Who knows? I don't want to rule that out, but it became boba.
Yeah, don't alienate your boba fans.
Yeah, the point is go to longshotpodcast.com and pick up a Here's My Boba of Wisdom t-shirt. Those are available now. And folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mandee. We are the Long Shot. We have been the Long Shot. We will always be the Long Shot. And we will see you next time on the Long Shot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.